Game 162 in the books for the regular season. Now it's all about the postseason. Wild card starts on Fridays. We welcome you here to Phillies Postgame Live, proudly brought to you by Cure Auto Insurance. Amy Fiddle, Ricky Vitalico, Ben Davis, and guys, yes, they wanted to get the win today. It would have been a really nice way to cap off this season. They do finish the year 87-75. Most importantly, they finish the season by going on to the postseason for the first time in 11 years. It's the best record that they've finished the regular season at since 2011, so no coincidence there. We're going to hear from Rob Thompson coming up. We're also going to head back out to Houston. But, Ricky, I know you wanted – it's obviously good to finish on a winning note. It would have been nice if they were able to come back today. But what did you take away from today's game?
I take it that it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you really think, come on, Bailey Falter went out there for one inning, then was done. Plasmeyer comes in and pitched. He didn't do too poorly. He gave up a ton of hits, but only 3 runs in 6 innings. So he ate up some innings for the Phillies. I think that was a good thing. I think the highlight of the game was Maton against Maton.
Yes.
And, I mean, you're laughing about it, but I mean, for me, that was the highlight of the game. I loved how Phil Maton was pissed off on the mound. Yes. I enjoyed that. And I like how Nick was at first base kind of digging it in a little bit.
It was kind of fun.
There's going to be a family brawl, you know that.
Yeah, Thanksgiving should be a little bit interesting for those two. But it was the first time the Maton brothers have ever faced each other at any level, so it was definitely fun. And you could tell the brothers did not enjoy. I mean, one enjoyed it a lot. You saw Nick at first base really taking it a little bit to his brother there. Phil, I don't think enjoyed it at all.
No, not so much.
Did you and Glenn ever go against each other?
We did. We faced each other in A-ball. He was with San Bernardino, and I was with Rancho Cucamonga. And they actually beat us in the playoffs to advance in the California League. It was pretty cool.
Oh.
That
was it.
That is.
Yeah. Well, not that we lost, but that we faced each other.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that.
I got to tell you, Phil Maton looked absolutely
He looked genuinely upset.
He was mad.
Yeah.
He was mad.
Hey, you wouldn't brother
how would
get
you
a hit
feel?
off
I don't like that.
I was going to say, how would you feel?
I'm surprised he didn't drill him. Just give him one shot.
Oh, well, that really would have made Thanksgiving a little too interesting. His mom would not have enjoyed that at all. Let's go back out to Houston and check in with our Ruben Amaro Jr. And Ruben, obviously, the game was what it was, as Ricky said, but it was kind of fun to see the Maton brothers going at each other. They had never faced each other in that one, and I do think Phil Maton, the lights went out. No, they went out during the game, so it's fitting they went out for you for a second there. But I think Phil Maton was genuinely upset that his brother got a hit off of him.
I think he was too, and they're pretty competitive kids. There's no question about it. I mean, they got 4 of them. You know that as youngsters they were getting after it in every sport. But it was a nice matchup. It was pretty cool. I think Rob Thompson and Dusty Baker probably got together to try to make that happen there at the end of the game. I know you don't want to make fun of this game and make light of it, but I think that's a pretty special moment. Each one of these managers trying to get their players ready for postseason play, and to be able to allow that to happen, that must have been great for the family.
I mean, facts being facts, nobody wants to get hurt. Everybody just wants to get off the field in this one and go on to their playoffs. But let's talk a little bit about Bailey Falter. He only goes 1 inning today, gave up a couple of hits. That doesn't really matter. What are your thoughts for his plans in the postseason?
Yeah, I got to believe that he's going to be a guy that they're going to use as perhaps a long guy, maybe to get a few hitters out. It really kind of depends on how the pitching shakes out, how guys pitch. I mean, obviously, we're going to have Wheeler and Nola at the outset of the first 2 starts, but it really kind of depends. I know that Ranger, if there is a Game 3 in this series, that he is definitely going to be starting, but I got to believe that in that situation, you're going to have a very short leash. I mean, all hands on deck in that 3rd game if in fact there is one, and I think that Bailey Falter is likely to be part of that process.
I know they didn't have their top lineups in the last 2 days, but you're looking at 7 hits and 31 strikeouts in the last 2 games from this offense.
Not a great ratio there, obviously. You'd like to see these guys battle a little bit more. Again, they're facing some really good pitchers. But you want to see them have better just battles against, especially in 2-strike situations. A lot of swing and miss at pitches that are out of the zone. Good breaking stuff, and really, Framber was excellent, and Verlander was terrific yesterday. But you want guys to battle, and I think it was a good. I think it was a good experience for them to see quality pitching like that here at the end, because that's exactly what they're going to see in playoffs, and they're going to have to do a little bit better battling. I know it doesn't count, but but you got to have that mentality. When you get into a two-strike situation, man, you could better bear down, buckle down, and try to make contact.
Rube, mentioning the postseason, you've been in this situation as a GM. This is a lot of decisions that have to be made now over a very short time span. You know, you have to make decisions on the roster, who's up, who's down, and everything like that. How much, when you were a GM, did you just say, all right, this is Rob Thompson, in your case, Charlie Manuels, this is his deal, or did you want to have a little bit more input? And how much input do you think the front office is going to have on going forward as they venture onto the first playoffs in 11 years?
I think there's going to be a lot of input and dialogue. I mean, I know that the manager probably wants to have certain guys, but the real important players in this thing are the guys at starting 9. And I know that they, at some point during the playoffs, there's going to be a hero that you may not have thought would be a hero at some point. And that decision, you know, to have that player on the roster may be a big one. I think there's going to be a lot of communication between Dave Dombrowski and Sam and obviously the staff about how they want to line things up, whether they want to go to 12 or 13 pitchers, if they get through that first series, whether or not they want to then change it up, and depending on the matchups, and a lot of it depends on who you are facing. And the bottom line is this. You try to line up your pitching as strongly as you possibly can to combat the offensive side of that other team, because I always believe at the end of the day, it's always about pitching, and hopefully and that's why I think the Phillies really do have a chance, is because their number 1 and number 2 are pretty darn good pitchers. They can keep in games.
We saw that the last couple of starts, both from Zach Wheeler and, of course, Aaron Nola the other night, who was almost perfect. Ruben, we appreciate you all season long. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Rube.
Hey, I really enjoyed it. Always enjoy working with everybody there. Duels, Sean, I mean, everybody, just a joy to work with you folks. Ricky and Ben, not as much. Michael, a lot. No, but seriously, guys, it's been a joy, and it's a really professional group, and you make it a lot easier for us to do our jobs here.
We could say the same for you, my friend. Thanks so much, Ruben. We appreciate you very much all season. Thanks, buddy.
See you, folks.
All right, it is our Red October coverage brought to you by your Tri-State Toyota Dealers Association. So let's look ahead, because there is no more road ahead. I mean, there is, but this is the road ahead, Ricky. Game 1, 2:07. We will see you at 1:30 on Friday to get you set.
What time do we open?
We open apparently at 1:30, so make sure you are tuned in, locked in, call out sick, put it on Zoom, whatever you need to do.
Skip school, do whatever you got to do.
Listen, this is playoffs. Some of these kids have no idea.
Is little Shawnee going to school on
Probably
Friday?
not.
There you go.
Game 2 Saturday. That will be see you at 8 o'clock. It's 8:30. And then, of course, these are all in St. Louis Sunday night if necessary. We know it's a night game. It could be, right now it's set for 8:30. It could be 7 o'clock or 7:30, depending on how the other series shake out. Obviously, not everybody's going to have a Game 3. But you would hope, to Ruben's point, Ben, it's very two strong starters out of the gates. Aaron Nola pitched a gem the other day. I mean, if you want a guy that's going to show up in a big spot, that was a big spot. He answered the bell. How do you feel about Game 1 and 2 right now for the Phillies when you're thinking about Wheeler and Nola?
I've said it for a couple of years now. If they're on their A game, I'll put those two up against anybody. I just flat out will. And the way Wheeler threw the baseball in D.C. on Sunday in those terrible conditions, he was just electric. And what we saw coming out of Aaron Nolan's hand last night was electric as well. So you kind of like their chances, because, I know it's a long season. These guys make an awful lot of starts. But, my Lord, they were throwing the heck out of the baseball. And I don't care who they're facing. Good pitching always beats good hitting. That's just the way it's always been in this great game. And I don't look for it to change. If these guys are on their game, I look for them to go out and get W's.
And when you look at this lineup, you have Goldschmidt with 35 homers, 115. You have Arenado with 30 home runs and 102. After that, the closest RBI run production guy is Albert Pujols with 68 RBIs. So there's a big differential in this lineup once you get by those two guys. I think Ben's right. You pitch to him in the situation. If there is a situation where you may need to put him on first base, don't hesitate. Do it. But and then pitch to the next guy. It's picking your poison at certain points during the series. But I think as far as the starting pitchers go, I think Wheeler, Nola attack these guys. Yeah, it's 6 career starts for Zach Wheeler against the Cards. He has a 2.65 ERA. So that is pretty good. A little bit bigger of a sample size than just this year. Let's check in now in Houston with Rob Thompson.
how fun was it to watch Maton against Maton?
That was great. It really was. And I'm sure Dusty did it, Or maybe Phil asked Dusty if he could face his brother. So that was fun.
See all the breaking balls he was throwing?
I know. Well, he knows them.
Yeah, he knows them.
But it seems like, in the dugout, Maton I know is kind of a quirky guy, and he's become pretty popular in there. But it seemed like the dugout was pretty fired up.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, everybody loves Nick. They really do. And their dugout was cheering for their guy. Our dugout was cheering for our guy. The fans got into it. They kind of figured it out. It's kind of neat. Yeah.
So you got through these last 2 games. Did it feel like these last 2 days took forever because you know what awaits you on Friday?
Yeah, and it's a little bit difficult because you're trying to get through it without extending your bullpen too much, so that you know that you got rested guys going into Friday. And so that was, in that way, it was a little more hectic or nervous than a normal game, So, but it worked out. Plasmeyer was unbelievable. He really was. His changeup's tremendous. He did a heck of a job to save our bullpen.
Did you say anything to him in that, along those lines that you did today was kind of important for us?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's that was big.
And he'll go back. He'll go keep staying loose, right?
Yeah. So he'll go back to Philly, and then once this series is over, we'll move that group to Clearwater.
So it's almost here. What are you feeling walking out of here? I suppose some of you at 162 you're tired, but I bet you're not. You don't feel that way now.
I'll wake up fresh tomorrow. Yeah, we got a lot of work tomorrow. We got meetings and we have a workout at 3 o'clock, and so there's a lot of work to be done before Friday. But yeah.
What are some of the meetings that you have to go through?
Just advanced stuff. We've got pro scouts on all these teams coming into the playoffs, and so we'll meet with them in the morning, and then we'll work out at 3, and then we'll meet with the club after that and go over some specifics. It's only been a couple months since we played these guys, and these guys have memories, so they know.
So the guys that scouted the Cardinals will meet you in St. Louis?
Yep. So there's some work to do tomorrow. Be a little bit longer day, but looking forward to Friday for sure.
Red October is back in South Philadelphia. Hoping they get some fans in those stands, which would be the NLDS, of course. Put up this sign. This is today, postseason 2022. First time the Phillies are in the postseason, of course, in 11 years. Great picture of him coming home. You see Kyle Schwarber there.
We are back.
We are back, baby. Red October is back in Philadelphia, especially at the ballpark. All right, let's check out as we wrap up game 162 of the regular season and look ahead. We check in on the offensive leaders, batting average, hits, home runs, RBI, and OPS. Of course, Kyle Schwarber leading all of the National League with his home runs and 94 RBI.
I would say this much.
Leading the National League.
I expected more than one guy to be over 100 RBIs on this team at the beginning of the season. Obviously, Harper ran into some issues with injuries. Schwarber just misses. Hoskins was well under. He's 21 RBIs under. It is what it is.
Schwarber for leadoff, 94.
The run production was a little low for the Phillies.
It was. They're a home run-based team. You were hoping to get a little bit more, but there were some reasons behind that. And here's our pitching leader, Zach Wheeler, leading the way with 12 wins. You see the ERA and strikeouts and innings pitched all going to Aaron Nola. And then Corey Knebel. You gave me a little. Wait, what?
Who's he?
Seems like a long time ago that he was the saves.
He's still the saves leader with 12.
12. He is the saves leader, but he's obviously not the closer.
Some of the issues that they've had throughout the course of the season. Locking it down has
really
not been easy.
Yeah, and sticking with it, I feel like it was, okay, this guy's going to be the closer, and then all of a sudden they had to make the change. But that was when I think the bullpen really kind of developed and showed that consistency, is when they did know exactly their role. We talked about that earlier in the season, in June and July. When Rob Thompson took over, he said, all right, here's your role. You're this guy. You're this guy. How much do you think that helps now going into the postseason? They've had that experience, Ben?
I think it does help out, but the bottom line is they haven't been as good recently because of the walks. The walks they've really shot themselves in the foot with regards to the walks, and that's something that they obviously have to clean up. You come out of the bullpen, the last thing your skipper wants you to do is throw balls, and you just can't do it. You can't give free passes, especially in the playoffs, especially some of these lineups that are pretty solid 1 through 9. So you just got to throw strikes. That's the bottom line.